and 6,000 calling count like we had yesterday. I'm not sure that's good for anybody.
Yeah, without anybody pressing.
I'll get back on. Hello, Mike.
Hey, I'm trying to order food.
Oh, okay, so you all gonna get Mike on Zoom?
Tell me look now.
He said look now. Oh, never mind. I thought we were gonna have you on the phone. So if you're on Zoom, you don't need to call me.
I'm gonna try, let's see. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna call you back.
That's fine. I mean, Karen's not here, but we're all here.
Okay.
Yeah, I just heard a call.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
100%.
Let's see y'all. Pardon me, I'm at the meeting in Athens.
No, he can see Galley, but they won't be able to see him.
That's
So I was telling the problem with that.
We weren't gonna see him anyway if he was on the phone.
They can't hear me or they can't see me?
We can hear you.
You can even back there.
Okay, good.
We don't really want to look at you.
So you gotta take a beating because you're on virtual.
Stand over here.
Oh, we can see him.
So we need to wrap this up because I got a great buffet set up for tonight across the street.
That's 6 o'clock.
Smoked beef brisket, green beans, salad, and then they got a casino night.
Oh, you're making everyone jealous.
For me and about 700 of our closest friends. They said I couldn't order from the menu though.
I think it's commission getting.
Well, I wasn't in most of the commission meetings, I remember he was the right way, I didn't know because only part we had was the city. So I wouldn't vote for it to totally.
She is in route.
In route. She's not get there in time, we get started. If you can route with the way it's running.
Yeah. Remember that. Holy man.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We've got a quorum, so we can go ahead and conduct the meeting. Karen is somewhere en route. She can come in when she gets here. The agenda for today is an emergency call meeting of today, March 24th, 2026, 5:30 p.m. This meeting is circumstances due to special election deadlines for UOCAVA balance required action today.
Mr. Chair, may I elaborate on that?
Go ahead.
Just to make sure we have it in a minute. The meeting today, as the chair just stated, is an emergency call meeting. It has less than 24 hours notice. The notice was sent a few hours ago. The special circumstances, as was stated, is that UOCAVA ballots must be in by Monday at noon, and this coming Monday at noon, in order for an election to be held in conjunction with the May 19 nonpartisan general and primary election. And the law requires, the Macon Water Authority Charter requires that the District 2 seat that is now vacant be filled by election at the next general election. And so what we realized today, although we had dates we thought were going to work, is that it would not work because of the Uwakava ballots, the overseas military ballots, have to be in by then in order for them to get them out. So the Board of Commissioners passed a resolution a short time ago, putting the new qualifying fees, qualifying rates, and that's the rest of the whole election. And that's the reason for it. I'm sorry, that's all I have to say.
Mr. Chairman, two things. One is that, I hope we'll add to the agenda an opportunity for public comment on the business that we're dealing with today. I don't know if anybody who is present from the public will want to speak to this, but this is an important matter to deal with, and if they have information to share with us, I think it would be helpful to hear from them. I also have a question for Mr. Nolan, which is the applicability of Uwakava, given that this is not a federal election that we're talking about.
I believe Mr. Gillen asked that question today, and the Secretary of State office said that we absolutely had to have it.
Right.
But all that, Mr. Gillen.
There are essentially two sorts of These are uniform overseas citizens. If they are permanently overseas, then they would only get the federal ballot. But if they are military or temporarily overseas, then they get everything that they would if they were living here in person. And so that was the essential part of the hang up. We have to have all the Uwakava ballots out by a week from Friday. And so Monday, according to what Kevin said, the last noon Monday was the last moment we could have qualifying, so we could get everything ready.
That's what was learned today. I think that we had operated under the same assumption prior to.
The only, the other theoretical option would be to have a separate election, where we're dealing with 10 precincts, plus early voting, and that would have to have separate equipment at each location, separate poll workers at each location, and you don't have the equipment for that, not for a third of the county.
Anything else? The new business is called for a special election.
Mr. Chairman, I would request that we give the public an opportunity to give 2 minutes of input if there is anybody who wishes to do so.
Anyone?
I just came from the commissioner's meeting, and I was asking them, I know Mr. Nolan was not here last week, when we now certified the election, so my comment is that we have to make sure we do things in order, by the charter, by the bylaws, by policy procedures, ordinances. We can't go this way, start at C and go to A to B. We gotta make sure that everything stays in the correct order that it's supposed to. So if the board, Macon Water Authority, not the commission, but Macon Water Authority as a whole, set something for a special election.
This is, are you off the, I'm sorry, Commissioner, this is Mike. Okay, so you're on speaker now. Commissioner, speaking. Yeah, he got to be quiet.
If Macon Water Authority has set a date for a special election, then the next thing to do is to come to the board of election. I mean, if they agree that they want to have a special election, then the next thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it comes to the board of election. And then the board of election send it to us to put a qualifying fee. Is that normally how it goes? Because I'm under the understanding that Gary Becker wrote the email speaking for the whole Macon Water Authority, but they had not voted on it. Is that, because that's what Commissioner Lucas was saying last week. So we've got to make sure we do things in order and by policy, by bylaw, by chart.
I can speak, I was going to speak to that at some point today anyway, and this is, and I apologize again for not being here on Friday to explain, but the water authority, and of course, we don't regulate how they do what they do, but the water authority did send by request from the, I'm sorry, my stuff's in the background. There we go. The chair did send an email, and I know there was a lot of conversation about whether that was good enough. And what their charter says, and so what I'll start with is that request was made, and that has been traditionally what has been done is we get a request. I'll be honest, sometimes I believe Virgil right there from when he was the attorney for the water authority. But and here's the reason, because that request isn't really needed, because the charter, which is state law for the Macon Water Authority, says, and I'll read it just so everybody knows. Should any vacancy occur among the elected members of the authority with respect to a term having more than 60 days to run, the remaining members of the authority shall forthwith notify the ordinary, who shall appoint a qualified person to serve until the next general election at which a successor shall be elected for the unexpired term. So the successor shall be elected at the next general election, which is May. And so the law requires that this be done at the next election, which is what the commission has now passed with their resolution and why we're here. So while I understand, and I do, the questions about any procedural irregularity that may have occurred in the water authority, I think that, I don't want to speak for Mr. Becker, but I think they probably looked at it and said, well, it's automatic, so we don't need to vote. We'll just send over and say, you all have the election. And so we don't, a resolution from the water authority, they don't have the discretion to not have the election, I guess is what I'm saying. If they would have failed to act, then someone, the county, us, water authority, someone's not in compliance with the charter.
Were they on compliance 4 years ago?
I looked at that and I honestly was trying to find out how it was that we came to have that election in November last time. Because I raised that to all of you all when I looked at it, because I thought about the same thing, because I thought we had done it in November and we did. I don't know, honestly, if the election calendar was different or, we didn't know, what there was other information that was available, or there were other reasons why we did it that way. I really, I've tried to research that and see why we had it in November in 2022. We did. I can confirm that we did.
Was it the person that left the board that began to proceed, was it after the special election in May?
It was the same thing, same exact thing happened.
Okay.
As my recollection, is that the same exact thing with the same exact actual member?
We just passed a motion last Friday pending county action and water board action. This shouldn't even be necessary if those two, all those two things took place.
The water authority has not taken any official action. The county has as of an hour ago. But the water authority has not. And what I was, the point I was trying to make is that it's not necessary that the water authority act. Because you're right, we wouldn't have to be here if we had the two contingencies that you all put in. I thought y'all did a great job handling it. Again, I'm sorry about being here to discuss it more. But that's, I'll answer any other questions. Mr. Earl can drive up.
Okay. Any further discussion from the board?
I think we see.
We have one right here, we have a comment.
Hi, I just have a comment. I would just like for the retraction for the news we put out for the qualified date. They did announce last night, the qualified date for April 6th through the 8th. So if you could have that retracted and just correct the qualified date.
I think that's a good point. I assume part of y'all's motion was to say what the dates were. That's why they were forward.
So then that was the last.
Anyone else? Hearing none. Call for the special election for the Macon Water Authority District 2 seat vacated by Desmond D. Brown, who is now running for at large Macon Water Authority. Need a motion on that.
Mike says so.
We have a motion, need a second? Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I think I was fairly vocal at our last meeting in stating that I thought the May election was important. And I do think that 6 months is a long time to have a vacancy in a position like this. But the process gives me some heartburn in that I was eating lunch and didn't know we would be meeting today. I am impressed that 5 members of the public were able to make it here on such short notice. I'm mindful of the fact that we have already publicized qualifying to be April 6th through 8th. And at this point, if we go forward, then we're talking about giving potential candidates 2 days notice for the beginning of the qualifying period. That concerns me a great deal. And so if I have any discretion at all, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to vote against this call.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign?
No,
We have 4 to 1. Motion is carried. Agreed to.
And Mr. Chairman, I mean, I assume the motion was to be in accordance with the resolution that has been passed by the county today, which sets qualifying, and Mr. Evans is pointing out, for Thursday, Friday, and until noon on Monday. I just wanted to be clear, that's what we were talking.
and given that this is passed, I think it is very important that the previous announcement be corrected in as many places and as loudly as possible.
Something else. A motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A motion.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thanks, Mike, and cut me off. Go get on this one. He was quick on the draw. I'm sorry, I don't have the time.